speaking more than one language is becoming more and more relevant in learning another language, because then it can really open you up to, having more connections with more people and different cultures. So yeah, I think that's super cool that, he has the option of chatting or, creating content in Greek and English. Yeah, deciding on which one, I think can be, that's the bridge he has to cross, I think.
It's a blessing to be able to speak, fluently in the two languages as well. And I'm not sure how his Danish is. I know Jonathan's background is also Danish. So it's so many people would love to be able to speak fluently in two different languages and have the option of doing business in two different languages. But, it's Fabien creates really nice content and has a good following there in France. Looking forward to working with him. I think we're going to get some time together here in Montenegro soon. Kevin's arriving today as well. Can't wait for having a guest here. Kevin brings a lot of energy to his life. I think we're going to have a lot of fun. So looking forward to him turning up. Dan, I'd like to circle, like, where are you at with the training side of things? We'll go a little bit further on the training side. Everyone is here. If you want to share any updates around your athletic side, you can use the chat box and you can do the hand up thing as well. But I know this has been like, you've trained super hard and you've built an amazing physique and you've done all sorts, and then you've got into rope flow and some softer sort of skills. Where are you at with that at the moment? How important is it for your journey?
Yeah, this has been something of like something that's been coming up for this past month, because my initial goal, athletic goal, was, to start building that foundation with handstands and, getting proficient in that skill. And with the business side, I see how my business side is somewhat taking over. So the concentration around my athletic side has taken a secondary stand. But for the most part, I'm consistent in staying fit and getting getting a workout in with no initial, projected future goal. And I'm recognizing how that has slowed my progress, or at least my concentration around the athletic thing. So for the next month, I'm gonna re-energize that and really find my flow again, because of the strength and conditioning side and my previous CrossFit background, and then the softer skills. It's now finding this balance between those things to level up to a new athletic side. I remember in a previous call you had highlighted that a little bit, because I have that foundation and my body's been in that state before. It's a lot easier for me to get there. I've noticed just by incorporating the dense training, dense workouts, my workouts are a lot less taxing, compared to a CrossFit WOD, which is metcons after metcons whole entire week, and they're not having any energy for say business pursuits or being there for family and other things. But with the dense workouts, I notice I can get in the gym, I get in a couple of blocks of dense, and I'm still making gains. I'm going to a commercial gym and I'm looking around at what people are doing. People are killing themselves left, right, and center with these workouts. And I'm coming in and I'm doing, dense style training. I'm concentrated on a certain aspect during that week. And I can see myself making gains. I'm currently going on 86.5. And I think for the next month, 86.5 kilos. And for the next month, I think I'm going to dial in the diet a little bit more, or the nutrition. I'm not a fan of the word diet, and get the athletic side dialed in, because business, and I'm finding my groove in the business aspect of showing up and doing my thing, showing value. And now it's okay, let's get back into athletic side, because I know filling that cup is going to overflow into all the other buckets for sure.
Yeah, it's a strong foundation to open those other conversations about recovery and about psychology and such. And I've also been having that realization that I think dense is in a lot of ways it's a really low stress way to train. Not so much when it's the 10 by 10 and you're pushing it near maximal, but if you're doing 1s, 3s, and 5s, like you can really have a nice session, beat your previous score, and be like really fine. And I think that level of training intensity is actually probably ideal for adaptation most of the time, where the body accepts the load. There's no big stress. There's no rejection of the work, and you adapt and you progress. Like Nico Di Paoli was just telling me this morning, he's 81 kilos. It's the heaviest he's been, lean. Jonathan's telling me the same thing. I'm the heaviest I've done a freestanding handstand, deficit push-up yesterday at 84 and a half, 85 kilos. I've only been able to do them when I was like 81. So yeah, it's fun to see, people hitting personal bests while also potentially using less stressful methods and more time efficient methods. Like it's a good combination, and that's everyone here has the opportunity to teach that to others, show them like it doesn't have to be that hard, doesn't have to be that complicated. Like that's the sort of the message of Dense Strength, and even with the ATG movements as well. It's like you just need to put some stretch strength into your work. Like there needs to be some long range.
Yeah, so something I've recently, or I've been incorporating quite a lot of, is how easy the dense training can be incorporated in day-to-day life. So if I'm sitting here in like at my desk and I'm doing some work, I've always got my like dumbbell set up, or my little doorway like pull-up bar, and doing that a block of productivity, like a productive time at the computer, that 30 minutes or so like that, and then having that break of having a 5-minute dense workout, whether that's like 3D or 3D5 or something like that. So 5 minutes of just doing that EMOM style of doing 3 pull-ups or something like that, or getting in like 10 push-ups for 5 minutes, and then coming back to the computer, and then having multiple little workouts like this throughout the day. My nervous system, my body has that time to then adapt to that, and then come to the end of the day, now you've accumulated a whole lot of workouts. We've been sold this idea that like a workout needs to be a full hour or something like that, where that works for sure. It's tried and tested. And the human body is made, or a man's body, a masculine body, is made to work. I mean, I come from that deep sea fishing background, where I know, like, I worked. There was blocks of work. You're not fishing all the time. You hit a shoal and it's an intense work at you're catching 300, 400, 500 fish in a shoal. That's 10 kilos to 17 kilos of fish. And then from there, you're throwing it, into the tanks and stuff like that. Then you're going back upstairs and the boat's searching for fish again. And that's a whole entire like days like that. Come to the end of the day, you're throwing all that fish back into the hold, packing the stuff away. End of the day, everybody's shaking hands, and you feel fulfilled as a man. Like you've just used your body to, produce, to, as a hunter, you went for the hunt, you caught the prey, and now you get to celebrate. And it's like this feeling of satisfaction at the end of the day. I think that's like a real important factor. This exercise paradigm of like, it's an hour, let's sit for an hour and only that, and then the rest of the 23 hours you're sitting on your ass.
I want to jump to Zach here. He's got his hand up, but the idea of that satisfaction of you got the kill today as well, is I love that with dense, of like, even if you say you do 5D3 chins, and you could be doing maybe 6 or 7 on the minute for 5 minutes, doing 5D3, you can get them in such a beautiful way that it still really feels like a win. Like you can pause in the middle, or they can be really explosive, or you can go for extra height at the top, pause at the top, and it doesn't have to be that you beat the numbers, but oftentimes, you do beat a number as well. And if you keep beating all-time numbers, like it's such a good place to operate from in life. And I got that 120 bench, like as much as, bench press is like one of those movements of like, do we care or do we not care? Like I've cared about bench press since I was 14, maybe. And to be hitting best numbers, I think it's the best I've ever done on dense. Definitely, soon it will be if it wasn't. Like I know there's going to be a little bit more there. It's such a good feeling. It's such a good place to operate from. And I think everyone should, I think more guys should leverage it. It's another tool of leverage that can open up possibilities. Doing the long range stuff with it. It's just a beautiful way of training, and we all have the opportunity to share that with others for free or as a business or whatever, and see what it does for the people around us to create these valuable communities. So you cook in there, Zachary. Is it Zachary or is it Zach?
I'll stick with Zach. Yeah.
Had that conversation with someone as well.
All right. Yeah, Zach.
Oh, yeah.
Doing good, doing good. Great to be here. Awesome to be on one of these calls in real time, you know? I think yeah, I'm cooking steak right now for the week, but athletically, we're talking about Dents. Like I've been loving Dents. It's been so awesome. Like just it's kind of, as you kind of say, gamifying it, coming back, beating your score, beating your score, beating your score. It's so fun. And it actually, I didn't expect it to work as good as it is. You know, you're objectively getting stronger. You can switch up the rep range and you can switch up the tempo, like you're saying, make it challenging in different ways, even in, reps ranges that you can get. You can pause in certain points, slow it down entirely. It's super fun. And honestly, like this month, when you mentioned like athletic, like I got pretty hyped because I'm actually just having a kick-ass month, to be honest with you. Like I actually just going above and beyond what I've been able to think I will achieve this month. So I'm excited to share some wins with you guys. I mean, this month I started juggling. I didn't really start juggling. I mean, I started going for 4-ball. I mean, I haven't really 3-ball juggled in like almost a decade, but I've been able to do that. And I was like, okay, this is gonna be so cool to 4-ball. And I honestly never thought to juggle really much because I mean, some of you guys may know I play kendama. It's a Japanese skill toy. So I'm doing that for 11 years. So I was like, I already kind of have a hand-eye thing. Then I was like, I only learned 4-ball. And then today I actually tied you, Keegan, on the first place leaderboard for that in 10 seconds. So if you want to push together, let's try and get close to 30. I'm going to go try and get 28 pretty soon. So that was a huge surprise on my end because, I mean, never thought I'd be up on the leaderboard for that anytime soon. But that was a huge win today. I just got back from a session a couple hours ago and I hit 10D3 on 110 kilos for SPAC squat. So that was awesome for me because I used to be my 10D2. It was the first time I actually felt nausea after a session because I've actually almost never felt that before. But after that, I was like, I'm just going to stop because I don't feel like I can continue with any other exercise. And then I upped my chins today to 15 from 14. So that was a huge win for me. But just this entire month, I feel like I've been, I don't know, just like this energy, like I would never have been training this hard if I didn't join this community straight up. So it's just like having all these wins and other things that athletically that I never would have thought I'd be able to do. The 4-ball, oh, hold up. Are we still on?
You're still there, yeah.
Okay, cool. I don't know what's
playing around with
happening,
this.
Oh, okay, yeah. So basically, it's like I don't know. I never would have been training this hard with dents and everything, and 4-ball and juggling and 4 balls. Even never really thought that was kind of like for me. But then like beating this community with you guys and seeing the chats and the dents chat and the athletic chat and everything, pretty much everybody's pushing. So I've been pushing myself consciously, but of course unconsciously as well. Be just being here with you guys. So I've been really liking it. Just an amazing experience this month. Keegan, when you started June Pro at the start of the month, you're like, this is the halfway point, guys. This is like going to be a huge month if you really take it seriously. Like this is going to set the tone for the rest of the year. And honestly, like that, I believed you, of course, but then now at the end of the month, looking back, I was just texting my brother about this today. And I was like, holy shit, Keegan was right. June was fucking like super huge month. So super excited to basically be in Uncommon 2 months in now. It's been like the best decision I made all year to join. So yeah, awesome athletic wins for me this month and excited to share with you guys and excited to hear about your guys' stuff too today. So yeah.
I appreciate all the shares there. So you got 4-ball, you're equaled on the record. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Yeah. Would you say that your kendama, like the dexterity and the practice of just being used to drilling stuff and persisting with things, like my guess is that's given you a significant advantage to come in and be 4-ball top of the leaderboard within, it's been a month, right? Like when did you actually join? Like 6 weeks?
I joined Uncommon. I joined 2 months ago, like April 6th. But I started juggling June, like joined for road for 4-ball basically June 1st. And I got like 4-ball for the first time like 10 days ago or like 11, maybe 12 days ago. But yeah, so for kendama and juggling, like for sure. Like doing something hand-eye and I've been playing Konami for 11 years and doing that, like I'm sure that gave me an edge in terms of learning, like ability to start, to learn like maybe faster than other people potentially. But I think the thing is mostly is like, because I've been playing Konami for 11 years and gone to a skill level in Konami that's, I'd say like, I do a high skill level in Konami. It's more of a thing where it's like, especially with hand-eye with juggling, but for everything, it's kind of like, because I've gotten to a certain point with this, it's like, why can't I get to that point or improve with anything else? Because everything else is a skill as well. So my Konami experience actually give me a lot of confidence in myself to say like, okay, if I really put my mind to something, I can reach that. I can reach a certain level in it. And having that from experience with Konami and to reaching a place in Konami I never thought I'd ever like reach has given me confidence in other things. And for juggling, it was kind of the same thing. It's like, I know I can do that, like I know I for sure I can do that. It's a hand-eye thing, and I could already 3-ball juggle. So I was like, okay, what's stopping me from doing 4? I never really thought I could make a shot at the leaderboard, like get as high as I am on it, until like the other day when I tested and I got like 26, and I was like, holy shit, like I'm almost there. So I don't know, just doing juggling every day for 10 minutes to 30 minutes, sometimes longer, but just staying consistent, and yeah, having the confidence in myself to know I can get into this and like get really, I can improve at it, was pretty key.
Yeah, that's the reason, like what you've experienced there and the background that you already have to take this on faster is kind of why juggling is within Hong Kong. It's like, so
Yeah.
Juggling can be like the kendama for other guys, where it's like, okay, I picked up juggling and this is what it took. So therefore now I want to go pick up whatever it is. And it can even be business stuff like sales or whatever. And you like attack it with that same mind, then what's going to happen? Like that physiological thing of like, I that was really uncomfortable for me 10 minutes ago. And now it's automatic. You get that with juggling and you get that with kendama. And I so many men, so many adults, it's been a long time since they learned something, since they did a skill that they couldn't do before. And that's not how it should be. And it's, in a way, it's like child's play, right? And you probably get that criticism with kendama, or like it's a bit of a stigma, and same with juggling. It's like, why are you doing children's things? It's like, we should keep that young mind our whole lives. Like, why would we stop having that?
I totally agree with you. A lot of people too, like they just dismiss themselves from even thinking that they're able to do something, or like they're able to, or that's not for me, or like, I can't do that. I've heard that so many times. Like, I can't do kendama. That's just not something I can do, or I can't do juggling. But like, when people say they can't, I'm like, okay, let me just show you that I just think like, okay, you can totally do it. You can do it. But when people like don't think they can, it's kind of like the mindset. I love what you push, and like, what if, I love the question you say, I think most of your videos, like, what if you could? Like, that is so like true. Like, because once you break that and actually have an experience where you do try to do, like, I don't know, like for example, kendama, like how hard is it to really get this? Like, it's harder than it's easier. I'm making it look easier than it is, but it's relatively like literally anybody could do that, So it's just like, once people have the experience of them, getting skill, getting like the first step of these things, I think that opens a whole new mind shift. But most people just don't think they can do it. And I think that's what limits a lot of people.
100%. So why buy into the story that I can't, when maybe you can, maybe you just don't have experience.
Exactly.
So we all have these things. Like, what other ones do we need to move past? That's the game. Well, I appreciate that update on the training side, and appreciate you taking on board the idea of like, let's be professional with this. Like, let's treat it like a pro athlete. If we treat our athletic side like becoming professional athletes, and we treat our business side like becoming professional business people, and we treat building these connections around the world, this network, as if our life depends on it, as if we're really going to need this network one day, potentially. If we can do all those things in a professional way and take on other learning skills and languages, then it seems like, oh, well, that's a lot to take on. But what's the alternative? Like, the average situation is not a good one. It's not one that we should accept. So it goes from being like, oh, this is really uncomfortable and I don't know if I can do this and it's overwhelming. People just starting in Uncommon Success often feel like that, but you go your whole life. You know, there's no hurry. You don't have to learn it all this week or this month or this year. If you continue to just take on the philosophy and take on little challenges each month, like what if I could do this month, can be a big change in a short period of time. Love to hear from some other guys. Playing around with this whiteboard thing. I've never used it before. I think you guys can see it and type on there as well. Welcome to add anything, use a tool. I think maybe it doesn't, I don't know if you're on your phones, it might not be very helpful or useful, but
I have some things to share.
Please, Chris.
Yeah, I went to an ecstatic dance event near where I live, trying to go out into the world, not just focus on the online, focus on actual in-person interaction, which I think has been a really important part of my journey so far. A guy there, I've actually met him a couple of times, and we got talking, and he said he's had a rotator cuff injury, and so I'm going to kind of bring him into my shoulder course beta that I'm going to start July 1st. So that was a really good connection I had. Ecstatic, not exotic, ecstatic dance, John. And
want to explain what ecstatic dance is, since
yeah, ecstatic dance is
exotic dance.
Yeah, so ecstatic dance is it's a form of dance where it's very, very free. So you have someone, the lady there, Marie, she kind of holds the space and facilitates and gives very mild, it's very unprescriptive, meaning there's not steps, there's not moves, it's just kind of whatever you want to do. And it's something that I've just kind of done for a long time, and I'm just now getting into doing it in a public setting. And yeah, it was 50 people or so last night, just dancing a lot, and it was really, really hot and difficult, and I'm really, really tired now. But yeah, I'm making a lot of like good connections through doing that. I also recently went to London Movement Group. It's a kind of movement group out in London, just about an hour away from me. So those are the kind of the good connections I've made there. Athletically, I wanted to share about the challenges I'm facing with learning the handstand. As some of you know, I've had the double bone graft last year, and I'm now trying to get more advanced shoulder function, and I've got quite a long way with it, but I'm definitely noticing the stability issues with my shoulders trying to learn the handstand. When I go inverted, I'm still very shaky, very, very shaky, and not confident. And I think it's going to take a while for the nervous system to recalibrate, because my skeleton is a different shape. So it's an interesting challenge that's not going to be solved over the next couple days or weeks. Probably going to be a couple months to get there. So yeah, some of my challenges.
Yeah, there is that conversation. I saw this idea 20 years ago that some people's the shape of the processes on the scapula mean that some people's arms aren't meant to lock out overhead. And now my understanding of it now is that the bones will actually change, but it will take potentially some time. I've yet to meet someone who can't build a strong overhead position, but I've met lots of people who don't have it when they first start working on it. So yeah, it's an interesting journey to go on there.
It's the smaller inner muscles that when I go inverted, I'm noticing it's just not, I don't know how to explain it really, but it doesn't feel like my shoulders realize they're overhead or they're inverted, if that makes sense. It does not, it's really interesting. I mean, it's not something I'm not going to give up with it, but it's definitely, I feel it's going to take me a little while longer than some other people to it's like the opposite of what Zach was saying, because he's done kendama with the juggling. Now juggling's easier because I've had the bone graft. Now maybe the handstand's going to be a bit harder for me, but it's, it will make it all the more impressive when I can do a handstand. That's how I'm trying to view it.
It took me 3 years to learn handstands from when I decided to handstand, but I was mostly messing around with kind of being self-taught rather than actually getting a method and figuring things out more logically. But yeah, sounds like a good journey to go on. And then the challenge makes the story more compelling. The more you've been through to get there, the more interesting it is and the more value there is potentially. All right, let's Manish was also sharing a little bit earlier there around his incorporating dance ATG together with kickboxing. It's given him some amazing big results. I've been speaking to Mitch, who recently joined our community. He's got Mitch's Soccer. He's worked with thousands of soccer players in Canada, including a lot of pros, and he has a really innovative method of incorporating ATG and the strength required to execute the skills for elite soccer. It seems as though he's onto something really important with that as well. It's kind of a bit of overlap with what you're talking about there, Manish, of how these things can come together and work in a specific area.
Yeah, it works like magic. Worked for me. The dance kind of like brought me back to athletic standpoint, and then I incorporated ATG and everything else to it and made a program out of it. Now everyone is changing their lives. Like all of my clients are feeling different.
Very good. Happy to hear that. What's the next step for you business-wise, Manish? I know you're working on the village there, and you've done a lot around that, and you've got the gi product. But with your training business, what's the next step for you?
Yeah, so I launched an online course, like 8-week transformation plan, all designed around dance, breathwork, kickboxing, and ATG. So it's combined into one. Like all of the things are combined into one program. And I've already sold two. I've made 2 sales. One I did today and one I did day before yesterday. So just recently launched it, and I've not even put anything on Instagram. It's just through WhatsApp right now. So already moving forward with that. So I think I'm gonna launch it on Instagram within a few days because I'll have more time, and plan is to build from there, scale it from there. And response has been amazing. The people who have joined, I think they are responding beautifully to breathwork combined with ATG. And dance is something totally new, and it's really for those people who don't have time. I think it's like a gold mine there, because we can do these micro sessions. Like between walk, you can do 10 minutes, you can do half block 5 minutes, and you don't basically need any warm up for that, or a cool down, or a longer session, just like a gym session. So you can sneak in 4 to 5 sessions a day and really transform your physique and health. So that has been, and I've also included that in my program, micro session aspect of it. So that has been a real good selling point of that online program, the micro sessions, the time efficiency. So yeah, training side and launching this course is right now the priority. On village side, there's like breaking down of the cost and figuring out like how to start construction after the monsoon leaves, because now it's raining almost every day here. And gi one is like I've done everything what's in my control. So it's up for, like, I've given the sample to a food authority. They'll test the nutritional value and chemical composition, and they'll come back to me, and then we'll be like ready to launch it in the market.
Very exciting. Lots of progress there. Well done with getting that new offer into the market as well. And those first few sales are really powerful. for those who haven't had their first couple of sales, hearing that other guys are getting that should be something that transfers belief as well, that makes it more doable of, okay, well, yeah, this stuff, people do want to buy this stuff and they do want to experience it. And everyone's doing something unique and something different within Uncommon Success, which is what I like as well. But taking ideas from Anish or from what Daniel's talking about, learning, what they're doing, how they're doing it, you're always going to do it different in your own way. You're always going to resonate with different people. You've got different audiences. You're in different countries, potentially different languages and cultures. So there's nothing to be lost by sharing the best of what you have, and you'll get feedback and you'll get ideas, and your own product will get better. And you might also transform someone else's life, someone else's future. We're talking about Dense Strength, and we're talking about ATG, but there's infinite number of these systems and ways, frameworks of putting around things that we can bring forward. So whatever it is for you, like, don't feel as though like these are the little boxes that you have to stay with, like having one for plyometrics, or everything is welcome. All the discussions around different modalities. The main thing is that you have something of value to offer to other players in Uncommon Success. And, Sebastian's just joined us. He's 18 in Norway, just finished high school, joined the week after finishing high school. It's not too early. You're from 15, you're a man, and the childhood is kind of prolonged by the modern system, but there's nothing holding an 18-year-old back from being very successful and building a business, building a product, building an offer that's very valuable. And if it takes you 4 years for that to be what you can do full time, and you have to work other jobs and do other things in the meantime, fine. But maybe it doesn't as well. Maybe it takes you 2 months. Maybe you learn things a lot faster because you have a younger, more malleable brain as well. That neuroplasticity of the young brain means that there's more opportunity to assimilate things and take on the new skills faster. I'd love to hear from you, Sebastian. Maybe you want to introduce yourself and share a little bit of what you're getting from the conversation.
Yeah. Hi guys. So as Keegan said, I'm 18 years old from Norway. I mean, for me right now, I'm really struggling with some injuries and stuff. I feel like that is really what is ultimately holding me back right now. So I'm going to be working with Eddie van Dongen, I think, having him as my mentor. And I think this stuff is very valuable. I think I thought about especially the thing with the languages. I think for me in Norway, it's like, do I wanna start a business in Norwegian or English or whatever? I mean, and I think there's lots of value in every one of you guys. I think for me right now, I really want to try to connect with a lot of you. I mean, most of you, or probably everyone, is probably ahead of me in your journeys. I mean, for me, I would really want to probably eventually create a business around probably some ATG training or something. I've also been into carnivore diet, been doing that for a while. So I'd probably want to create something around that. But right now, really a beginner in everything, I feel. So lots of development for me, I feel. Yeah.
I feel the same way, Sebastian. You're not alone. But yeah, it makes me happy, man. Just even you being on this conversation, having voicing yourself in front of other men about your dream and your vision, and I think this in itself is something very powerful and important that doesn't happen that much across lots of cultures and different interests and beliefs. It's a great thing in itself. So well done, just wanting to be here and sharing your position. And I'm very confident that you're going to experience great things with overcoming those injuries and progressing your football dream. As I said before, Mitch's soccer, he's had really good results with Canadian football, Canadian soccer. They're the 50th best country in the world at the moment, somewhere around there. And they went to the last World Cup, and he's dedicating himself fully to making the best football players. And we're having discussions about what else can be done. What will the best players 10 years from now be able to do, and how do we accelerate the journey towards that for the guys that we work with? So you're in a good place for things that you're interested in. A lot of guys are really interested in overcoming injuries in specific areas. So Just being inquisitive, being active. We've got Thorberger as well from Iceland. I think I mentioned him on our call before. I think he's 18 also, and he's European champion in weightlifting in the 89 kilo category. He's a very, very strong young man, trained out of the best CrossFit facility in Iceland. He's been working on like a snatch template of getting people doing the snatch in the Olympic lifting with good technique and feeling comfortable with that. So that could also be something that also transfers belief and kind of helps you understand where it's going to go for you coming along this path as well. So I encourage you to take on those connections.
Yeah, I mean, I've been connecting with some guys already. I would very much like to connect with those guys. Yeah, which sounds very interesting. And I think Thorberger, was that what you said? I think he's born the same
Yep.
year as me, so it would really be interesting to talk with him. Yeah, and his prospects and everything like that. Yeah, really
Yeah.
excited.
Yeah. In a lot of ways, all this stuff is created for you. Like when I was your age, I didn't know what to do with myself. I went to university just because there was nothing better to do. And then I traveled after university because there was nothing better to do. But now there's something better to do. Like there's some good stuff to study. There's some good places to go. There's reasons to go save up. I saved up like 10 grand but I didn't know what to do with it. You know, I didn't know how to gain experiences with it. I invested a little bit in stuff that didn't really do well and went and traveled a lot. Like this is really in a lot of ways, it's perfect for the late teens, early 20s person who wants to have an amazing life. And I'm not saying for you other guys that are closer to my age that it's not for you, but it's like, imagine if you had this opportunity and assimilated this philosophy and skills and network like at that age. It's going to be very interesting. That's what I got to say. I was thinking about it yesterday about like, CrossFit is now sort of 20 years into its journey. And initially it was really a shit show. And when most of us first saw CrossFit gyms and stuff, like it was a bit of a butchery. The standards weren't that high. The coaching wasn't that established. But now there's a lot of really, really well-established boxers and coaches, and the level of the lifting and all that stuff has gone up exponentially. At the start, it actually seemed impossible. Like it was thought to be physiologically impossible to be great at weightlifting and endurance stuff. And they're not breaking world records in weightlifting, although some of the junior females and stuff, like there is crossover, but it's like broken all kinds of barriers that existed in the minds of strength and conditioning for those who are 20 years, who are around when that got started. But I think there's some similarities with what we're trying to do and what could be 10 years from now, 20 years from now, the cumulative effect of going after these things. And I think we're already seeing that with new players coming in that start now versus the ones that started 3 months ago. Like there's a competitive advantage for the person coming in now where they're going to be 3 months in is going to be better than those who started a little bit earlier, because there's like a feeding forward of wisdom and belief, and the same thing that you see with CrossFit. Lachlan, I'd love to hear from you. How are you?
Well, thanks. How are you guys?
Doing very well. What are you picking up from the conversation? What's happening in your world?
What's happening in my world? Just been working a lot at my day job and then at a pub nearby. My one thing for the month is to heal my gut. So I've been working with Dave O'Brien, following his 9-week protocol. And I've got a blood consult coming up next week. So looking forward to that. But making a bit of progress. I've had a lot of joint issues as well and tendon issues, kind of across multiple joints. I think partly it's like gut issue related, but I definitely need to step up kind of implementing the range development to improve my tissue tolerance as well. I think you're on mute, Keegan.
What you say for the shoulders?
No, for I basically kind of quite widespread joint issues. So a bit of shoulder pain, but a bit of knee pain and hips as well. And yeah.
Is that what caused that?
I think it's sometimes hard to tell between, is it like issues relating to like inflammation from my gut and or is it issues from like training and pushing the tissue too far? I think it's probably a bit of both.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Okay. Interesting. So you think the 9-week gut protocol might also help the joint issues? Is that the idea, or is it you think it might need something separate?
I think it will like improve like my gut and my ability to like get the nutrients and heal properly and get good quality blood. And also like decrease overall inflammation. But then I would definitely, like, I'd still think I need to get my range development going.
What I was asking there was, what do you need healthy joints for? What's the bigger picture? What's your vision?
I really love my soccer and I really want to get back into it. I've always had a dream of playing professionally, but kind of haven't been able to play much recently. So kind of my near-term goal would be get into a rep team by the end of this year.
What position do you play?
Midfield, so like centre mid.
No, how old are you, Lockie?
20.
Yeah.
10 and 21 this year.
All right. This is where I practice my soccer. Maybe we can do a little bit of skills practice. Those who've got juggling balls around or a soccer ball. Okay. I'll use the wall here. We play like, yeah, it's a nice big area. So we play up and down in here as well. Passing back and forward.
It's all you need, a wall.
Yeah, maybe we'll do one. It'd be cool to do a live one. I've been talking to Mitch about how we can start to incorporate more of some of their basics work inside of what we do. So you get to everyone has like a basic proficiency in soccer. I think soccer is really good from the perspective that it makes you work hard on one foot, and the balance element of being on one foot at a time and being able to balance has great transfer across to all other sports. A lot of guys with a soccer background do better in other sports because they have that foundation of balance. You can see with Djokovic, he's got good balance. Kobe Bryant played a lot of soccer. He lived in Italy as a young man. And you often see that story because if you develop a fundamentally better relationship with the ground, you're at an advantage for everything else that follows. And there's no disadvantage to being really good in terms of balance and in terms of where you can get your feet to in space. It's sort of like for playing a lot of basketball as well, tends to be an advantage for AFL rugby players because they have just better hands, generally working really hard on the hands.
I think it also helps with fighting because of I've heard like Jose Aldo, he has like the best leg kick ever because he played soccer when he was younger. So he's just got this ridiculously powerful kick. So it can also have not just balance, but also power.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. And this is, Maxime, would be good to hear from you. But this is a lot of the thesis of like why we do this stuff, and even getting beyond the label of strength and conditioning coach. Like if strength and conditioning coaches were abolished and it became athletic coaches, I think that would be a really good thing. And if we could broaden the scope, that the training that you do outside of your sport specific training, it should be generalized training that increases the base for sports. So there should be trampoline in there should be hand skills, there should be foot skills, there should be things that require rhythm and timing. And athletes shouldn't be terrible, especially complex sport athletes shouldn't be terrible at any physical task. Like there's no advantage to being horrendously bad at soccer if you're a tennis player, or, you know, for a lot of rugby players, they get terrible at everything other than rugby over the course of their career. And it's a reason why often players deteriorate somewhat, especially physically, but sometimes skills wise as well, and balance wise as their careers go on. What are your thoughts on that concept, Maxime? You're working over there with Chinese Olympic sports. What are you a strength and conditioning coach, or what is it that you do?
Yeah, that's very particular, the Chinese system. So to take an example, the Chinese team is always because they are very close mindsets. But if I take my example, my personal case, I play football 15 years and I just play football. I never reach any athletic goals. I never improve my athletic skills. And when I decided to be a strength and conditioning coach, I lift my first weight with a back squat and I fall with 50 kilos. So yeah, in the Europe country, especially we are hyper specialist. I don't know if I say good in English, but we just focused on since 6 years, 4 years on just one sport. And if you practice a lot of sports, it's because you like it. But your parents put you in the football club and you practice only football, and the club of the football club will give you only the skills of football. So after what happened, it's when the player become professional, or you have people that don't know how to do a squat, how to do lunges, how to do any kind of movement, of pattern of movement. And sometimes with the Chinese athletes, yes, I was with the judo team the last month, the Olympic judo team, the women, and we do a warm up just after the wake up at 7:50, and we try to juggle, and it's a sport with a good, very hand skills. You catch your opponent. You have to have a good coordination, and any of them could be juggled. So even with two balls, and when you see them playing football or basketball, they have poor coordination and they only know the sport specific skills. So yes, of course, I think we passed the period of the specialized skills, and now everyone know if you have a large panel of skills, you improve your athletics and your fitness. And you take the example of CrossFit. CrossFit is a good example. You can handstand walk, you can do muscle up, you can lift in Olympic lift, you can run, you can do. And the goal of the pyramid of CrossFit is to do every sport at the end of the pyramid. So yeah, if you improve the general skills, you become a better athlete. And I think for the strength and conditioning, you can focus on the strength part or the conditioning part or any kind of parts of the job. But if you master every skills and every qualities, physical coordination, you begin a very good coach, and you can improve the mindset, and you can open the mindset of your athletes. And I think the better athletes, you say, Kian, have the better skills in the world. Kobe Bryant, and lots of fighters also, every kind of sportsman. So yes, definitely you have to improve your skills. And now with Uncommon, I'm discovering other kind of training, and I feel better than the last month. I just start and I feel yet better. I love it, and you challenge you every day, and you enjoy the time. When I go to training, no, I go to train for fun. I like it. and I'm not boring about it. So I just start to have fun in my training. At the time, I begin to be boring about CrossFit and lifting weight. So no, just, and if you want to stimulate your athletes, they want to learn. So yes, of course they like it, and you can open the mind and take them and go out of the professional part of the sport. You just improve the mood and the needs of the training. Yes.
It can be good for the best athletes to also experience not being the best athlete for a little while as well. Maybe when you go to the trampolines, the athlete who's dominating on the mats is then the beginner again and feeling really uncomfortable. I think psychologically continuing to go back to those moments is something very valuable and humbling, and it opens the door of like, okay, well, what would this be within my own sport? You know, I had this conversation with Sonny Bill Williams, the most well-known rugby player of the previous decade. And I was having the conversation with him in 2016 of, you know, what's the advantage of not being coordinated with your feet? We were foot juggling in the backyard with Fred Marcero, French coach who I invited to work with me at the Catalan Dragons, who then went to work with in the top 15 and now lives in his own version of a village in the south of France, and has influenced hundreds of other coaches in France since that time. We were juggling and foot juggling, and Sonny wasn't great. He wasn't absolutely terrible, but he wasn't great. And we had the discussion, okay, well, what's the advantage to not being good with your feet? Like, why is it that some players can kick the ball and then other players can't? And just asking these questions and having this conversation, he decided, okay, like I'm going to work on my kicking for 5-10 minutes every time I go to practice. And that next year he kicked for tries in games. You know, he kicked small kicks, he kicked across the field, and he continued to add to his game in the way that before he added the long pass. But it is that extreme discomfort of like, oh, I'm really bad at this thing, and going from, okay, I'm really, really bad at this thing, which kind of could be part of my sport. And then, then he's doing it on the world stage, you know, wearing an All Blacks jersey, or you're competing on television. And he literally, within 1 year, was implementing that. And imagine if all athletes were taking this philosophy, and some probably do, but there's just fractional gains. Like you only need to be 2-3% better than your opposition, and you dominate. You set new standards for your sport. So how do you find that fractional improvement? I love the posing of that question, the answering of that question, and since most people aren't posing the question, there's still huge opportunity for those who do. And the fact that you're excited about your training, Maxime, as well, makes you a better coach. I don't care what anyone says. Like a lot of people push that the coaches don't need to be training and they shouldn't be obsessed with their own stuff. But if you're excited about it and you're experiencing it yourself and you know what it's like, then you want to give it to them, and you want to experience it with your athletes. And that's a different coach. It's not the only way to be as a coach. You can be a fat, lazy coach, doesn't train, but you did it 30 years ago. It's possible to do that and be a world-class coach. But for most young coaches, it's not going to work to be the unathletic person who's not really inspired about training themselves. I appreciate you sharing there, Maxime. And I'm excited to hear that you're also excited about your training. Does anyone have anything they want to add here? I think, John, we haven't, you've been around for a while, so I've been throwing to the guys who haven't spoken much, but I'd love to hear what's on your mind, what you're picking up here.
That's awesome. I've been following a few of the guys, so it's exciting to see it all accumulate and turn into something. Yeah, the path, it's amazing being part of this and seeing everyone's journeys. The big thing for me at the moment is really just the events we're doing. So a few of the guys are on the call today. We're on our accountability call this morning, doing like a weekly live working. So you just zoom in, you work through whatever's a high priority and you get it done. Very, very simple little event. I think we had 3 of us this morning. Garrett was there, Tan, and trying to think, Augusto. And tomorrow's events are got the Mind Gym, so really excited to see how that turns out. Working with Daniel DePau and Tyson Venables, so pretty cool. Then the last one is doing the summit with Max Hernandez. So I know a few of us are speaking at that one, but pretty excited about that as well. Events are amazing. I was just going to say everyone's looking at courses and stuff, which is cool too, but events and workshops, you can sort of get something done a weekend and learn really quick. That's why I like it. It's like, I wrote this, I've got a timeline, I've got to get it done. Monday morning, I'll sit back and go, how can I get better? So looking forward to that live feedback.
Yeah, 100%. There is something special about it, and it is different in person to online, but both have their value. And yeah, I encourage everyone to think about what event they're going to present, and yeah, step by step. If initially the idea is really intimidating, just being on these calls and responding to things, like that's a step towards it, and desensitizing to the anxiety that might be around presenting and such. But the more you do of having conversations, it's the way the whole system is designed. When you connect one-to-one with someone, there's a lot less anxiety. And then these group calls, it's like some people initially don't want to have the camera on, or they don't really want to speak, and it feels a bit funny. And then a little bit further down the track, you actually make a presentation and you really enjoy, you realize that it's an enjoyable thing. And then you're in a position to actually build a business. And yeah, it's all part of the same sort of continuum. So excited to hear that for you, Johnny, because yeah, probably 6 months ago that might have seemed this 48-hour period probably didn't seem very likely, or yeah, you wouldn't have been too sure about it.
Thanks, Keith.
Yeah. Maybe you want to share a little bit with the guys, because they're seeing you now as like, okay, you're doing the mentoring calls, but you've taken on tons of new experiences with doing your social media and building your YouTube and all those experiences.
I was probably the guy that had the camera off. I don't think I actually posted for 6 weeks, maybe 4 weeks when I was in Uncommon at the start. So I was pretty much invisible. And I think that's something Keegan's really helped us to like be a work in progress, like do the work, be okay with making mistakes. So even though I'm still pretty low on a lot of the leaderboards, I'm just I like having a crack. And we did the launch thing. There was a lot of learnings. I launched a habit course last year, and yeah, the feedback I got was fine, but it just wasn't how I wanted it. So then it's just been, each thing's a new learning. Social media, very uncomfortable for me. I've been thinking about it. I think I might have had a chat with someone the last week or so. I'd procrastinated on starting social media for like 8 years, maybe, nearly 10. So to get through that, how I've learned to do that is really why I try and help some of the guys in the mentoring calls. Is like, I got in my own way for so long. How can we work together and figure out what's that mental block for you? For me, it was like perfectionism type stuff. Need to have this skill before I start. Need to be this good, all that type of thing. So launch was amazing. A lot of belief changes working with Keegs. I don't know, everyone, I think we all get this, that culture change sort of washes over you every time you have a conversation. You sit here, even today, sinking in, there was a couple of things I was like, oh, that's something else that's going to embed for next time. So the culture just week by week, month by month, it's very hard to avoid it. Money's probably the big one, Keegs, you've helped me with, is like, can't change the world sleeping on the couch. You need to accept value. People value money as like an exchange. Like if you've got something to offer, the market will show you that it's valuable through money. So money isn't an evil thing. It's just people putting a value on what you're providing to them. But yeah, that's probably the big stuff for me, has been kick started with that.
Yeah. Love it, Johnny. Love the shares, and yeah, I'm excited for the next few days. And in some ways, it's a bit of a wrestle, right? Like where we were at with our relationship and connection through the launch thing, you were like, oh, I don't think this is working for me. Now it's exactly the same process at exactly the same price point, more or less. But it's 6 months down the track, 12 months down the track, and it feels like, okay, yeah, I can see this working now. And we changed it so it was an annual thing, but it's pretty much exactly the same, and there's just more guys committed to it, and you can see it's working better. It just takes time to actually stay in the fight, stay in the struggle. If you think everything's gonna change for you over the course of a couple of weeks, see you, Sebastian. If you think it's going to change over the course of a couple of weeks, like it's probably not. That's the game. But inch by inch, as you say, like these conversations. Often, once someone's had 10 of these calls and sort of shared ideas and whatnot, then it'll be a different person, or they'll come to different calls in a different way. And so, that's the fun of it, the evolution that goes on over time. Stepping into more leadership, stepping into different conversations, and as the community matures as well, that's the biggest thing with the way Uncom's structured. The more people that are further along, it changes things for everything. It changes the dynamics for everyone within the network, the passing of knowledge, sharing of experiences. So appreciate everyone jumping on. I think we should leave it there for now, and I'm going to get on with a bit of training here. And I'm sure you've got things you want to work on there. Looking forward to finishing out the month strong. We've got our last couple of days here in the Uncom 25, and then we'll drop you a review video into the app, and then we'll set up the July. We're going to be doing the basic blitz at the start of July. I'll share more information about that, but I'm really looking forward to doing that. And personally, I'm looking forward to the experience of it. And I'm excited for everything that's coming up. I think we're just getting better and better. I see people's businesses getting better. I see the leaderboards getting better. Bring your best, keep doing your best. Great things are going to follow. Thanks everyone for being part of the game, being part of the call today, and we speak again soon. Thanks for staying up till 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock in the morning, Garrett. Get some rest.
Cheers everyone.